It's Freestyle Friday!
Coming in hot with quick shots of inspiration on a variety of topics.
Hello. Alrighty, so today is going to be really interesting. Wade and I have had a lot of incredible things going on in our life. And sometimes when there's so much going on, there's a lot of tension. And right now, Wade and I have a lot of tension. And so we're going to talk about fighting. And we're going to talk about like just tension in a relationship and how we work through that. And Wade and I have very, very, very different styles. When I'm heated about something, I need space and not to be forced to do something or forced for an answer or forced to talk about the feelings or whatever. I need space because I know my hot-headed self and I will go psycho bitch mode if I'm feeling like a lot of pressure. Whereas Wade is like, let's talk about it right now, in this moment. And he like pressing. And so literally up until 30 seconds ago, right before we hit record, we're like, we need to get out of Freestyle Friday. What should it be about? Blah, 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 blah. And we're back and forth. And here we are. And we're like, let's just be really real. And there's some tension going on right now. And that's okay because we're normal.
I was sitting here like, it's Thursday evening, by the way. We're recording this like 12 hours before you hear it. And it's something like we need to do. And we usually like setting and bunching up episodes and recording them and having it mapped out for like a month. But for this particular one, it is absolutely completely freestyle. And, you know, we have a lot going on in our life in the best way. And we're putting that there. You know, when you have a goal, you actually put a lot of obstacles in your life. But that's good because those obstacles make you, you know, better, make it who you become. And so for this, it was like out of necessity. Like usually we sit down like, oh my gosh, can't wait. We know the topic. Like, let's just go on this. Like, we don't need to write down all the notes, but we'll just free flow on that. For this one was like out of necessity. So we start going like, okay, what should we talk about? Should we talk about this? And we talk about that. And we're stressed out because like we had back to back like calls pretty much all day. And then it's like, all right, we have this 15-minute window to record this before people come over. And we're doing some tonight. And it, you know, it added to stress. And like Sandy said, Sandy was like, just hit record, let's go. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna let you lead this. And so we're bouncing off each other. But I think coming back to, you know, fighting is a normal part of a relationship. Stress and tension is a normal part of a relationship. Sandy knows herself and that she needs to like remove herself from the situation. I want to like talk through it, like male brain maybe, but like, okay, we have a problem. Let's solve it. Let's talk through it. And what we've realized, or what I've realized, is like, there needs to be sacrifice. There needs to be meeting in the middle. I'm not going to get it my way where like right away we talk through things. Sandy's not always going to get it her way where she, you know, leaves the situation all the time, but it is meeting in the middle.
And by the way, I might leave the situation, but it's to cool off. It's not to like ignore the situation. I personally, is anyone else like this? I need time to just like think about it and process and think before I speak. Because it's gotten me in trouble before when I react in the moment. And I know that about myself. So I'm just being totally real. So let's turn this around and, you know, add some value. Let's talk about when we get in these modes, when you have a lot going on, I have a lot going on. We're trying to, actually, I do not like the word trying. We are working towards meeting in the middle and like finding compromise. Like, what do you find? Like, what helps you?
So I realize about us is, when we have tension or irritated, it's because one of us or both of us are stressed, whether that's like the workload we're putting on ourselves or whatever it is. And what I realize is when there's this can be this underlying irritation. Maybe it's from a certain event or maybe it's from just overall stress. And it's really, the key is like breaking through that. And what I realize is when we are in those modes, sometimes we are like so in whatever it is, build mode, where we're almost like a passing ships during the day. And I realize us coming together, connecting, spending quality time together, whatever it is, leaving our phones off and going to do something, go for a walk or connect. I also realize physical touch is big there, like cuddling on the couch, even maybe, you know, sex is big on that. I think that can often relieve stress, tension, irritation.
Except right now, the last thing I want is to have sex with you.
Right now. But when you get
You're
to
gonna
that,
try and warm up to me.
when you get to that point, no, what it really is like, I kind of not make fun of Sandy, but play with her. Like, this might be too far, but days after, maybe we do the next day, she's like smiling. She's so happy. She has this like even more Sandy energy. And I'm like, oh, someone got laid last night. And so I think that physical expression is a part of it too. What about you? When we get in fights, like, how do you think about it? Or how do you think about when you're irritated, or how do we come together?
For me, it's space, which is not happening right now, which is why this feels like this right now. But for me, it's definitely space. And it's also coming back to, like, we did our Critides connection the other day, and we're going to do an episode on this and tell you guys more about it. But it's like a come to Jesus meeting. Like, it's a weekly chat for us to get connected on all topics and just get aligned in all areas of our life. Like, how am I as a wife right now? How am I as a business partner? How am I showing up? How would you rate me on a scale of 1 to 10? How can I show up better for you? Do you feel loved and adored? And then kind of like touching on different topics, like, what are our personal goals? What are our household needs? What are our, what's going on in all of our businesses? How can we delegate things? How can we have more structure and organization? And I think a lot of it for me is like having an action plan, because a lot of times I feel like there's so much going on and it's all incredible good stuff, but sometimes it feels like a lot to manage, and like we're needed in a lot of places and sometimes being pulled in a lot of directions. And so for me, it's kind of like having an understanding of like the expectation so that like I can deliver. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think, piggybacking off that, it's been great. I can't wait for that episode or to share that, our Critides connection, our weekly connection on everything in our life, because ultimately a marriage is alignment. And when you can align and move together through life, it's so beneficial and feeling aligned. And so a lot of times stress or irritation comes from like, okay, I have all these things that I have to do or we have to do in my brain, and Sandy might too. And if you just keep it in your brain and you don't communicate it, or you don't write it down, or you don't come together on it, it can be this root cause or the source of irritation at each other. So when you have that open opportunity to come together and write it down, or like just acknowledge it, or make, the master family to-do list or whatever it is. So you there's this sense of relief, like, oh, okay, I don't just have to like think about and have all these tabs open in my brain. Like, we're moving towards this together. I think
basically getting aligned.
Yeah, getting aligned. That was actually the title of the episode we did this week with Aaron Alexander. I also think when you are seeking something, whatever that is, love, more, quality time, physical touch, anything, like, give first, right? A hug. Go give a hug and you'll receive a hug. So I think that's a big part of it too. So oftentimes you're gonna be like, my partner's not doing this, my partner's not doing that. But when we go and give it, like, let's not focus on what we don't have or what we don't want. Let's focus on what we want, and let's take the action towards it and like give it to receive.
Yep. I think that's today's message.
That's the message.
All right, guys, if you are fighting with your spouse or your roommate or your parents or your siblings or whatever, it's totally normal. We all do it, and it's just part of life. So just keep being awesome, and we love you guys.
Love you guys.
Have an amazing weekend.
Bye.
Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible.
So remember, you are magnetic.